Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. In the study, and I think that's really what it is, the study of how the media manipulates public opinion, a lot of it's what they say, but honestly, a lot of it is what they cover and don't cover. Stories they send out, yeah, certainly they color them the way they write them, but sometimes it's just a choice of we're not going to tell you about something, or we are going to tell you about this other thing, and it can really be misleading to the public. And of course, that is the intention, is to, if you want to move somebody in a certain direction, you get them thinking a certain way. Joining me right now to talk about something that just happened recently along those lines, David Cordrea is journalist. He has written about guns for many years, and he's one of the, I call you, David, one of the clear thinkers on this. Thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks, Tom. You know, you're right. We have both been doing this for a long time, and I got to tell you, I have never seen the feeding frenzy that we're seeing right now. This is just insane, and trying to pick out what to write about, what to highlight, not just what the media keeps from us through lies of omission, but also what we get filtering through, and what is it that is just worth a mention on a blog versus what is it that requires a whole article to get into all the lies and deceptions, and you know, this is just nuts, the situation that we're in right now.
It's really a tidal wave of, I don't even like to call it misinformation. It's just lies. And as you say, you can lie by commission or you can lie by omission. In the case of this story that should have been coming out of Nigeria that most people never even heard of, you might just kind of touch on that and what happened there and why it matters that we didn't hear about it.
Yeah, there was a story in Fox News, I guess about a week ago or so. I've been involved in all kinds of other things since this one came out.
Right.
And it says, gunmen murdered dozens of congregants during Mass at a Catholic church in Ondo State, Nigeria. The attackers used explosives and firearms in their assault on St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church, killing more than 50. And this is something that, first of all, how did the gunmen get to guns? Because, you know, Nigeria, they have strong gun control laws over there.
Yes, they do have strong gun control laws, and I mean, to the point where you can not only get yourself in trouble, you can get yourself killed if you have illegal guns in a number of countries. So yeah, how do they get them, and then what do they do? And then because it didn't happen here, I don't know if it's because it didn't happen here, it's not a story, or is it just that, oh, they actually do have mass shootings in other places? Because how many times have you heard, David, this never happens in other countries?
Exactly right. They want to use that to mask the fact that it happens all over the place all the time. I forget what I saw that U.S. was, how far down on the list we were in terms of real mass shootings. And then they pull out this deception that, well, they call it developed countries. And the U.S. has the most in the developed countries. And what do they mean by that? Well, that's one of these terms of convenience that can mean anything that they want it to mean. And they always conveniently seem to leave out both Russia and Mexico, both of which have higher GDPs than many of the countries that they include in the developed countries list. So you tell me what the agenda is.
I think we call that cherry picking.
Yeah.
Let's just pick out the ones that further the narrative that we're doing right now. And you mentioned that it's like, it's not even like daily, it's by the hour now, the stories that are flowing. Of course, we had this, impromptu, highly financed and orchestrated mass march around the country. More Bloomberg billions, being spent on this. And the media, which I have come to start calling it, they're just the PR department of the gun ban industry. They're just parroting all of this and never asking. I mean, even when Joe Biden says something completely idiotic about 9mm and they blow your lung out, nobody in the media challenges it or asks even a question about it. They're at this point, David, I think they're complicit.
Oh, they're absolutely. And I mean, how often have we heard Biden repeat the total lie that you couldn't own a cannon in the Revolutionary War? And yet the only place we ever hear that corrected is if some conservative sends out a tweet. And so you never see that corrected in any of the news reports that come out. They just dutifully parrot a narrative, and then you take a look at the words that they use, and you can find the same words. You just put those words into the Google search engine, and you'll find that it's appearing on CBS, and you'll find it's appearing on MSNBC, and the New York Times, and the Washington Post, and CNN, and ad nauseum.
Well, it is the talking point that they have been issued by the gun ban industry. The media gets its orders on what to say and what not to say by the gun ban industry, even to the point where, and people think we're making this up, they actually publish guides for the media on what to say. And of course, they have guides to each other on the gun ban industry on what not to say. Don't say gun control. We're going to say gun safety. You know, it's just those kinds of things. We're going to manipulate the language. And part of it is being dismissive. I mentioned that when they say common sense gun laws, that's their way of being dismissive, which is if you disagree with me, then you don't have common sense.
Exactly right. And so what we have when we go back to like the Nigeria story, we take a look at all of the restrictions that they have over there. Okay, civilians are not allowed to possess machine guns, military rifles, handguns, private possession of semi-automatic assault weapons. And, of course, whenever I say this, you know that I'm putting quotation marks around that. Private possession of handguns, pistols, and revolvers is prohibited. And add to that licensing, background checks, registration. And then you have to say, well, what is it that they're asking for here? They are trying to ban semi-automatics. They are going for universal background checks. They are going for registration. They are going for everything that Nigeria has going, and they're saying that somehow or other what doesn't work over there is going to work over here. For what reason? Well, it's a different country. It's a different situation. They have civil war going on, and what keeps the people victims? They are disarmed by a tyrannical government, and what's it all about? It's about freedom and the security of a free state.
And, you know, people, I think, understand that inherently when we have 10, 12, 14 million first-time gun buyers in the last 2.5 years, people have just looked at what's going on and said, you know, BS. I don't care what they're telling me. I know what I'm seeing with my own eyes, whether it's the daily death toll out of Chicago and other cities, or it is the Antifa BLM riots where they're burning cities and the police are told to pull back, and individuals are going, you know what? We're going to get a gun. I'm going to get a gun, honey. And it's women and it's minorities and it's everybody across the board who just looked at it and said, I now am going to take care of myself. No longer am I going to outsource my safety. And then, David, one thing you could touch on here is, and then people watched what happened in Uvalde and said, wait a minute. The courts have ruled that the police have no duty to protect anyone. They clearly don't come and protect the children, and yet you're telling me I can't protect myself. What's up with that?
Yeah, well, there's this only one's police mentality that they're the only ones qualified to go in and handle a situation. And what do you do when they don't handle the situation? They stay outside and they keep parents, in some cases, I guess, cuffing them. But there's a danger that gun owners run into with the new gun owners that we get, and that is you come back to the question, how do they vote? And you're still seeing a big push, well-financed push. There's an organization I wrote an article for Firearms News about called 97%. And what their whole shtick is taking the new gun owners and convincing them that, okay, you can have this gun, but you need to side with us because you don't need assault weapons and you have to have universal background checks. And a lot of them are going along with that. And this is a real challenge that we're going to have to address rather than just sit back and say, well, see all these new gun owners, we're safe now. No, we're not. These people are part of the problem until we make them part of the solution.
Perfect. Exactly right. How can people read your writing? And I recommend it highly. I think everybody ought to be reading what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I try real hard. You know, here we are. It's a Sunday, and we're working.
Yes, we are.
Did manage to take yesterday off. Beautiful day. Take the wife out, spend some time, and pay attention to her, and do some things. But I've been going at it since sunup this morning, and I'm going to be going after it long after we hang up on this call.
I hear you. So, if people want to read what you're doing, what's the best place to go?
Best place is waronguns.com. That is waronguns.com, the War on Guns Notes from the Resistance, and that will act as a clearinghouse to take you over to my stuff that's on AmmoLand and at Firearms News.
Perfect. Waronguns.com. David Cordrea, thank you so much, and keep doing it. You're doing a great job.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Tom.
All right, you take care. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. Quote Sean Connery and the Untouchables. What are you prepared to do?